Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, not because of a backache or arthritis, but because of something heavier, a feeling you couldn't quite name? The truth is, pain after 70 isn't always physical. Sometimes it lives deep inside the heart, and it doesn't show up on an x-ray. It doesn't need a walker or a cane. But it lingers, quiet, invisible, and very, very real. Let's talk today about the kind of pain many older adults carry quietly. The pain that isn't seen, but is felt just as deeply. And if you're over 50 or care for someone who is, this message is especially for you. 1. The pain of loneliness, the weight of empty rooms. We often imagine old age as peaceful, retirement, grandchildren, gardening. But behind many closed doors, loneliness has moved in. Take Margaret, 76. She lost her husband, Harold, 5 years ago. Her son lives across the country. Her days are quiet. Too quiet. She turns on the television just to hear a voice in the room. Margaret is one of millions. In the U.S. alone, nearly 1 in 4 adults over 65 is considered socially isolated. And it's not just an emotional ache, it's a health risk. Loneliness has been linked to heart disease, weakened immune systems, and even a higher risk of early death. But what makes it especially painful is that it's invisible. People assume if you're not crying, you're fine. But silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's despair. 2. The pain of losing purpose. Who am I now? After decades of working, raising families, making decisions, retirement can feel like freedom at first. But soon, for many, it brings a frightening question. What am I supposed to do now? Jim, 72, taught history for 40 years. He was respected. Students visited him even after graduation. But now he says his days feel empty. He drinks coffee, waters the plants, watches the clock tick. It's not depression, exactly. It's the grief of losing who you once were. In older age, people often stop being useful in society's eyes. But usefulness isn't just about productivity. It's about feeling like your presence matters. Purpose can come in many forms: mentoring, creating, volunteering, storytelling. But unless we help people find that purpose again, we risk letting them drift into despair. 3. The pain of being forgotten. I'm still here. There's a pain older adults rarely talk about. The pain of feeling invisible. Helen, 79, raised 4 kids. She was the heart of the home. Now, she sits quietly at family gatherings. When she speaks, people talk over her. Her grandchildren scroll on their phones. No one asks about her day. It's not intentional. But it hurts. This kind of pain doesn't scream. It whispers. You don't matter anymore. And it's everywhere. Older adults are often left out of conversations, dismissed in healthcare settings, and erased from media and culture. We must remember, aging does not make someone less relevant. Wisdom does not fade with wrinkles. 4. The pain of unresolved grief. I never got to say goodbye. Grief doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't expire after the funeral or fade with time. In fact, older adults often carry layers of grief. The spouse who passed 15 years ago, the sibling lost in childhood, the friend who died during COVID and never got a proper goodbye. Robert, 81, says he still dreams of his sister, lost in a car crash when they were teens. They never spoke about it in his family. He never cried. But every year on her birthday, he feels that quiet ache in his chest. Many older people are never given space to talk about these losses. They're told to move on. But you don't move on. You move with it. Talking, remembering, even grieving again. These are not signs of weakness. They are the signs of a full heart that is loved deeply. 5. The pain of watching the world leave you behind. The world changes fast. And for those over 70, it can feel like being left behind on a platform while the train speeds away. Barbara, 75, remembers writing letters by hand. She baked pies from scratch, listened to radio, and went to bed by 9. Now, people communicate in emojis. Self-checkouts have replaced cashiers. Everything's faster, louder, colder. She doesn't dislike change, but she misses the pace of connection. Many older adults feel alienated, not just from technology, but from the culture itself. They feel they no longer fit. This creates a subtle pain, the loss of belonging. But here's the truth. We need elders more than ever. Their values, patience, presence, wisdom, are what the world desperately needs to slow down and remember. 6. The pain of the body betraying you. We know about physical pain, aches, surgeries, stiffness. But what we often miss is emotional pain that comes with it. John, 78, loved tending to the garden, but after a hip replacement, he can't crouch anymore. He sits on the porch now, watching the weeds grow. He doesn't complain, but inside, he mourns a man he used to be. Losing physical ability often feels like losing pieces of identity, and that grief is real. Our culture idolizes youth and strength, but we must remember, strength takes many forms. To face these changes with courage, to adapt, to keep showing up every day. That's a kind of bravery few recognize, but all should honor. 7. The pain of feeling like a burden. I don't want to be a problem. Perhaps the hardest pain to talk about is the fear of being a burden. Linda, 73, moved in with her daughter after a fall. Her daughter is loving, but busy, so Linda apologizes often. She eats less. She hesitates to ask for help. Inside, she feels like she's in the way. This kind of emotional pain can lead to quiet self-erasure. But here's what we must say, over and over. Needing help does not make you a burden. You cared for others for decades. You have earned the right to be cared for. With dignity and love, it's not weakness. It's part of the beautiful, complicated cycle of being human. So why talk about this? Because pain doesn't only live in the body, and healing doesn't only come from medicine. Emotional pain in older age is real, but it doesn't have to be carried alone. If you're feeling any of these pains, know this: you are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too old to be heard, to be seen, to be valued. And if you love someone over 70, talk to them, listen, sit beside them, even in silence. Sometimes, presence is the best medicine. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a pain that wasn't physical, but was just as heavy? Share your story in the comments. You never know who you might help. If this message touched your heart, please give a like, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs a little warmth today. Because growing older should never mean growing invisible. You matter. You always have, and you always will.